Good morning, good afternoon and good evening and welcome to Buckmore Park. We're here for a bit of a new style of video today. We're going to be doing a vlog and I can't say I'm all that practiced at vlogs. So yeah, we'll see how well we get on. So today is Saturday. It's a very wet Saturday here at Buckmore Park. I say very wet, it's not raining, but it has been raining overnight, so with the weather being quite cold, it will probably be rather wet for most of the day. And we're going to be here for most of the day, because rather than last year like doing the SP60 in the afternoon and the occasional endurance, the endurance is no more. So SP40 replaces that, and I'm going to be doing SP40. A little bit different to SP60, but we'll go over that later. But yeah, excited. More time in the car, which will be good. And hopefully more time in the car equal better results. Speaking of better results, let's have a little think about what happened last year. So last year, just doing the SP60 on a Saturday, and could have been better. Middle of the season wasn't that great, and ended up finishing 6th overall, just a little bit behind Matt Hogan, finishing 5th. Ideally I wanted to try and stay as close to the top 3 as possible. Didn't in the end, and it became pretty apparent pretty quickly that I wouldn't be keeping the number 2 plate that I'd earned from the year before, but that's the way racing goes. Sometimes it can't always go your way. So yeah, this year trying to use that extra time from the Saturday to get some better results, and not just the SP40 and SP60, but the sprints on Sunday as well. My aim is I want to try and be top 5 in both. Well, actually not in both. In all, in sprints, SP40, SP60, I want to try and be top 5 in all 3. Obviously, very competitive in all 3. The SP40, there's a lot of names in there that I don't recognise, so that'll be interesting. And there's a good handful of ones that I do, which are going to be very tricky to try and keep up with. But makes it more fun, more challenging. I think that's one of the things with racing. You don't want it to be just easy all the time. Joe Holmes, Anwar. So yeah, that's the plan. If we can finish top 5 in both, I'll be quite happy. If we can possibly push towards the top 3 in some or all or one, that'd be amazing as well. But I'm not going to think about that until we get a little bit closer towards the end of the year. So what do we know about Buckmore Park? Well, Buckmore Park is quite a twisty circuit. One that definitely requires you to get into a rhythm. It's not in a forest. It just happens to be right next to one, cut out into the side of a big old hill. I think possibly a quarry. I'd have to brush up on my Buckmore Park history to double check that, but there's a nice little history page in the cafe. But yeah, tricky circuit to get right every single time. Quite a few corners considering its length, and some of the more difficult corners are the ones that you absolutely have to get right, otherwise you're going to get really hurt onto the next straight. Being that there isn't really a straight here, they've all got a bit of a kink. Setting up moves is a bit more challenging than other places. However, you are able to run side by side with people, and battles can go on for a few corners, so that'll be interesting as well. If you're going to try and make a move, oh god, dodge the tree and nearly die on the slope, then you're going to have to try and yeah, really be quite firm with some of the moves to finish them off. Otherwise it could be quite damaging to your overall speed and lap time. So what we'll do is we'll jump straight in to a little bit of highlight footage from race number 1 and of SP40, not SP60. SP60 will come later, and yeah, see how we go. Wish me luck. race 1 in the books for SP40, and not a bad result in the end. Didn't qualify particularly well, but got a decent start. Ended up 4th after a while. I was stuck with Alex for a little bit. Made too many mistakes. Don't like mistakes. Need to cut those out. And then he eventually made a mistake himself, and I was able to get past at that point. Otherwise, it would be really difficult. Fended off for a little bit, and then came in P3 fastest, no, not fastest lap, second fastest lap behind Anwar, who got fastest lap, and that's how race 2.
Hello, editing Tim here. Sorry about that. The camera decided that it wanted to run out of battery. So what I was going to say is that in SP40 you start the second race based off of your fastest laps. So because I had the second fastest lap, I started second on the grid, not because I finished second in the race like the SP60 will later. Not that I finished second in the race, but SP60 done on your finishing position, SP40 off your fastest laps. Hopefully that explains that. Alright, bye!
So, race 2, silly boy, got penalty. So you're allowed 3 bits of contact, and I ended up getting 3. I thought I'd only done 2 bits of contact, so that's my racing driver excuse. I've used 2 out of my 3, and I should have had a penalty, but it is what it is. Ended up 4th overall. Would have needed 4th place to get third, so finished where I did. It wasn't quite going to happen, but yeah, not too bad. First SP40 round in the bag, and P4 overall. So now we move on to SP60.
Hello, editing Tim here. I can only apologise for what you're about to suffer through. In my seemingly infinite idiotic wisdom, I managed to forget to change the settings from the ones I use to talk to the camera into the ones that I have to use when it's on the cart. So sorry about that. Artistic motion blur?
So, race number 1 of SP60 for the year. Not too bad. Qualified 6th. And then just, yeah, first lap. Got sort of taken around a little bit at the start. I think maybe a bit of loading and stuff, but dropped away from the pack and then having to absolutely drive the nuts off it to try and catch up to the boys, which we did in the end. But I went for a move on Ryan, and Carolis had kind of like parked it on the apex, which stopped me from being able to capitalise on that. But I think I finished 5th in the end. I think. I don't think it was 4th, I think it was 5th. But yeah, so that'll be starting 5th for the next race. See how we go, see if we can get a podium in race number 2. But the main thing is to try and get to the first lap clean this time. that's it, end of race number 2, and ended up 4th. It was close, I think, close to being a 2nd or a 1st, but a couple of things didn't go quite my way, a couple of other things would need to go differently. But it was a really, really fun race. A bit of an interesting one in that, as is happening right now in the lightweights, there was a full course caution about halfway through because of some very dislodged barriers. A bunch of them, there was the top 4 of us that kind of disappeared. I don't know what happened at the start to let us break away like that, but it brought everyone close together and made it very interesting and hectic towards the end. But bigger for me needs to be a little bit more assertive. Should have gone for a move earlier on Carolus than I did. Got caught out a little bit, not much I could do about that when we were coming around paddock and ended up hitting into the back of him, lots of momentum there, and Ryan managed to get through. But all in all, two good races. 4th in the SB40 this morning, 4th in the SB60, so no podium other than me sitting on it right now. Unfortunately. But maybe next time, GY3 next time, so that'll be good fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed. This is a bit different from me doing vlog style videos, so hopefully you enjoyed it, and I can go home and edit and look how